introduce Sandy Vega from Family First Aid Streets, who can speak not only about the tragedy, but your leadership in helping to make this possible. Thank you so much for being with us.
Albany is just pouring fuel on the fire of this housing crisis. We cannot say it's a crisis. We cannot say how do we have so many homeless people.
Hi everyone, my name is Sandy Vega. I truly hate public speaking, and if it weren't for something so important to me, you'd never catch me in front of a camera and a crowd of people. Nonetheless, I have put my fears and anxiety to the side to speak about something so very close to my heart. 12 years ago, in 2010, my 14-year-old daughter, Brittany, was hit and killed by a car on the way to school. Unbeknownst to me, she walked to school instead of taking the bus and crossed Sunrise Highway, which is a 6-lane arterial road in Long Island, notoriously known to be dangerous. After the crash, I mustered up the courage to speak out and demand the passage of the New York State Complete Streets Law, which was passed in 2011. This bill was originally slated to be named after nicknamed Brittany's Law, but due to some red tape, it's Complete Streets. Brittany was our firstborn, and she was a natural-born leader, being the oldest child in our family. She was one of 5. She played guitar and could read music since she was 9 years old. She was an honor student. She was extremely artistic and even earned the Silver Award in Girl Scouts. She had a love for swimming, always winning medals, loved camping, and befriended everyone, no matter who they were, often known to counsel her classmates in their time of distress. By 3rd grade, she was marked as gifted and placed in a program special for children who were gifted to challenge their brilliant minds. A child who excelled in anything that she did. Brittany was a hard-working girl as she had her first job at only 14 years old. She was a free thinker and was just getting a taste of independence when she started her first year at Wantaw High School as a freshman. But only a couple of weeks into her freshman year, Brittany decided to act on her first taste of independence and go to school early with a friend so they could meet some of their favorite teachers before school started. To do so, she decided not to take the bus, but to walk and meet her friends to get to school early. Her school was on the other side of Sunrise Highway, which is a street that divides our town of Wantaw with stores in multiple lanes, making children cross it to see their friends on the other side. I had not permitted any of my children to cross Sunrise Highway, Brittany included. But that should not be how we keep our children safe, by barring them from walking to school to see their friends, to go to the store or walk to school. The loss of Brittany has shattered our family, scarred our community, and the consequences reverberate to this day. Every day hurts, and while my husband and I no longer wake up sobbing as soon as we open our eyes, or feel weak in the knees in despair for her loss, we still miss her terribly, as do the rest of her siblings. Even now, 12 years later, I have moments where I'm alone that Brittany being gone smacks me in the face, and I lose all control of my emotions. In an instant, the reality of what has happened pinches me. Every child deserves to make it home safely. No parent, husband, wife, mother, daughter, or son should ever receive the news that a loved one was hit and killed while going about their everyday life. I remember feeling relieved when a bipartisan group of elected officials in Albany responded to Brittany's senseless death by taking concrete legislative action designed to make roads like Sunrise Highway get critical traffic calming measures to protect everyone who uses it. Walkers, bicyclists, handicapped, children, the elderly, and those driving as well. In 2011, the Complete Streets Act was a hopeful safe streets in New York State. Brittany's death, I thought, would not be in vain. It has been frustrating to see that until 2022, a whole 10 years later, Albany has largely failed to build on the law and improve it. It was never supposed to be the end-all, be-all. It was supposed to be the beginning of a more ambitious effort to save lives. The fact that since Brittany died, over 10,000 New Yorkers have been killed on our roads statewide, that tells us clearly more help is needed. Finally, this past spring, the New York State Senate and Assembly passed a bill to increase funding to communities across the state to fix their dangerous roads. But we are here today, all of us in Families for Safe Streets, in memory of our children, parents, siblings, spouses, and loved ones, to thank Governor Hochul and her team for engaging in discussions and hopefully soon signing the bill into law. We know that progress is being made, and we hope that we will have a resolution imminently. Cities, towns, villages all over the state and a coalition of over 100 organizations are grateful for this long overdue change, for the additional state funds that we will finally tame the dangers of the streets like Sunrise Highway across New York State. 3 people like Brittany are killed in crashes in New York State every single day after day after day. We need bold action from our New York State leaders. We need passage of the entire New York State Safe Streets Act, and look forward to standing with my fellow FSS members as Governor Hochul signs this bill and others into law. I thank you all for coming here to take the time and listen to my story and hear my desperate plea to Governor Hochul to save the lives of the people in all of our communities. Thank you so much for coming.
Sign this bill! 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 Sandy, I just want to honor you in front of everybody. I can't begin to imagine your pain and the fact that you are still here fighting, not only on behalf of your daughter, but on behalf of everybody else, including his parents. We honor you, and may nobody else have to stand in your place. Thank you. It's my honor now to welcome Assemblymember Bobby Carroll. Yeah.
Good afternoon. And after hearing what Sandy had to say about the tragedy that she and her family experienced, and the tragedies that so many families in New York have experienced that are unfortunately unnecessary, because we know what to do to make our streets safer. We know what to do to calm traffic. We know what to do to make sure that cars share our roads with pedestrians and cyclists. And the first step is for Governor Hochul to sign this bill. Because we need complete streets. It's not going to avert every tragedy. It's not going to be a silver bullet. But it will begin to bring all of our communities from New York City to Long Island to Westchester, the Hudson Valley to upstate into compliance and make our streets and our cities more livable and safe. We need her to sign this bill now so we can do so much more work next year to get other bills that I know are a part of this package passed and on her desk. We need to get this. We need complete streets now. We need to keep fighting. She needs to hear us on the 38th floor. Complete streets now. Safe streets now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
People, what do we want?
Safe streets!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Safe streets!
When do we want it?
Now!
I want to invite Juan Ardila over to talk about his experience at the FSS. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. How we doing? How we doing? Yeah. What do we want?
Safe streets!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Safe streets!
When do we want it?
Now!
You all look good here. Listen, so I'm here representing District 37, proud to be representing Sunnyside, Woodside, Long Island City, Ridgewood, and Maspeth. And what we need are safe streets. In my home district, we have large advocates advocating for infrastructure, bike safety, pedestrian safety, cyclist safety. And we still have lives being lost. Just over the summer in Bridgewood, we lost a deliverista, a father of immigrant families, and we still don't have the infrastructure in place. We still don't have the bike lanes in place. We want more public transit. We want to make sure people feel safe. We want to make sure our bikers are safe, because the streets are for the public. They're not owned by cars. They're for the bikers. We're public space, and we want to make sure that people do feel secure as they transport through their bikes, through the streets, making sure infrastructure is being invested, and we have the proper repercussions to make sure that everyone is safe within their communities. So I want to thank all the advocates here. We want to make sure the governor passes and signs safe streets for our state. And I also want to take this time to give a shout out to Ridgewood Rides, all the advocacy they do. All the advocacy they do in Ridgewood and Central Queens, because we have an uphill battle. We have a lot of people pushing back against us, but we're not going to stop until we make sure we have the infrastructure and the investments in place for the people in Queens and beyond from New York State. Thank you so much.
Sign this bill! Sign this bill! Sign this bill! Sign this bill!
Sign this bill.
With all these speeches that we're making, we could just be celebrating instead, right? We need this bill signed now. Let's get it done. And we will. We'll get it done. This is truly, it takes a village to fix this city and this state. And I want to welcome Sarah Lynn, the Chief Strategy Officer at Open Plans, to come and say a few words. Thank you, Sarah.
So, for the last century, we have been building our streets and our cities around cars. We have prioritized their movement and storage above everything else. And we see the results. That has resulted in a climate crisis, in tens of thousands of people dying every year, hundreds of thousands being injured. It's torn neighborhoods apart, and it's locked everyone in their own little private cages to get around, instead of having us get around together on shared transport. But I want to stand here today and say it doesn't have to be this way. We have a choice. We can change it. But we need complete streets if we want the future we want. If we want to have places where we have safe, sustainable, walkable communities where children can walk to school on their own and play in the streets with their friends, where neighbors bump into each other on their way to the store, where our seniors can sit on a bench and enjoy their community, and where we can all breathe a little easier. We need this bill. It's a really critical first step on the way to that vision of the future that we all want and deserve. We're really excited that the governor is talking to us, working with us to get this bill signed. Wish we could have done it earlier, but we'll get there. So we just urge her to sign it as soon as possible and to work with us on our Safe Streets Act package of bills next session and get this all done. And I just want to take a minute to say too to all the advocates out there, I know this work sometimes can feel disheartening. It can feel like these rallies maybe are pointless. It can feel like we're never going to get to that future. But this is evidence. We have been pushing the governor. We have been advocating, and we're going to get this bill signed. So just keep up your energy every single day. Everyone who advocates is done. Advocacy works. Let's go.
What do we want?
Safe streets.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Safe streets.
When do we want it?
Now.
It's my honor to welcome Assemblymember Zoran Mamdani. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Who's ready for Safe Streets?
Yeah!
So it is such an honor to be here with all of you, and I really do want to echo the words of the last speaker, which is that sometimes this organizing can feel futile. Sometimes it can feel as if you're doing it in a vacuum and no one even knows. But I want to tell you that inside Albany, the only way that things get done is if you can hear the echoes of the demands outside the chamber. So it is critical that you are here today. No matter how many nice things people in power may tell you privately, they need to say the same things to you publicly. And until those two things meet, you need to always be outside demanding that they do just that. This is a critical issue for me personally. I represent Astoria. I've only been in office for 2 years. In 2 years, I have seen 3 deliveristas have their lives taken away from them by inadequate infrastructure in my own neighborhood. Right? I think about Alfredo Cabrera Liconia on a daily basis, a deliverista who was killed on Crescent Street by a truck making a turn that would have been impossible had the Department of Transportation installed the infrastructure that we told them was necessary. We cannot continue to fight these battles on a neighborhood by neighborhood basis. We have to have a coherent, comprehensive plan for what full streets look like, for what safe streets look like. This bill gets us one step closer to that. This bill gets us one step closer to a New York City free of traffic violence, to a New York City that values every person who uses the streetscape equally, whether they are in a car, on a bicycle, on a scooter, or they are a pedestrian. Because I have lost too many constituents to the inadequate value system that we have in place right now, where we privilege our cars and everyone else just happens to be there. That's not the way this city is, that's not the way this city should be, and I'm so thankful for all of your advocacy to ensure that the governor delivers on what the legislature has already signed off on. So now it is up to one person to sign this bill. It is Governor Kathy Hochul. And so when people ask you, what's the obstacle right now? When Dave Colon asks, who is stopping this bill from being signed? The answer is very clear. It's Governor Hochul. That is who has yet to take action. Once she does it, we can all go home for this legislation and come back until we have the full streetscape that we deserve. Thank you all so much.
Sign this bill! Sign this bill! Sign this bill! Sign this bill!
Yes, from your lips to the governor's ears. This is exactly what we're talking about. Every single street corner, we have to fight trench warfare. In one neighborhood, they say it's fine here, but it doesn't work in our neighborhood. Complete streets make it, so that all of us don't have to go fight block by block, to ensure that everybody can cross the street without fear of death or serious injury. Somebody who unfortunately knows this too well is my colleague Fabiola Mendieta Cuapio, who's going to read the statements from the leaders of this at the Senate and Assembly, Senator Kennedy and Fahey. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. My name is Fabiola Mendieta Cuapio. I'm Brian's mom, and I'm here to say, Governor Hochul, we're not taking no for an answer. We want you to sign the complete street bill, because while this Christmas you're going to sit at the table with your family, your kids and grandkids. I have an empty chair in my table. So you have to sign the bill. It's up to you. And we advocates are going through so much right now. Please, everyone, we need everyone to make phone calls and to call out and say that we need to sign this bill. And I'm here to share statements from 2 members. There are 21% more motor vehicles fatalities in New York State in 2021 compared to 2019, according to a National Safety Council report. An NHTSA report estimated 12% more traffic fatalities in New York State in 2020 compared to 2019. It should come as no holiday surprise for anyone that following the COVID-19 pandemic. Pedestrian deaths hit a 40-year high in the United States. Our children deserve the chance to be kids. Our children deserve the chance to grow up. Mind their happy chance. I am hopeful that we can sign the complete street funding bill to support towns, villages, and cities across New York State, build safety streets in our communities. And this is from Assemblymember Patricia Fay. The crisis of traffic violence on streets across New York State demands serious action from our state elected leaders. The governor can take action today by signing the complete streets funding bill into law. This legislation that passed the state legislature this summer will increase the state funding for street redesign when municipalities agreed to incorporate a complete street redesign, which can include bike lanes, raised crosswalks, ramps, roadways, and more. Redesigning streets for safety is the most effective way to protect people from crashes. Regardless of age, you deserve to feel safe crossing the street. Each day that goes by that leaves our dangerous roads unchecked is a gamble on our lives. Together, we can pass this law and save lives. And this is from Transportation Chair Senator Tim Kennedy. Thank you.
What do we want?
Safe streets.
When do we want them?
Now.
What do we want?
Safe streets.
When do we want them?
Now.
Liam, thank you for starting that because I was about to come and do that same thing. But you know what? It has been really hard to hear us because there's another important rally happening. But I want to make sure, what are we here for?
Safe streets.
I didn't know what the answer was going to be.
And we kind of want them now.
Yeah.
We want them now.
Yeah.
But let me say, we also want some complete streets, do we not?
Yes.
And complete streets, they do a bunch of different things. We're talking about safety, we're talking about green infrastructure, we're talking about jobs. So let's talk about all those benefits right now. When I say complete streets, you say green streets. Complete streets.
Green streets.
Complete streets.
Green streets.
When I say complete streets, you say green jobs. Complete streets.
Green jobs.
Complete streets.
Green jobs.
And when I show this pen, what do we use pens for besides our homework?
Sign the bill.
We sign some bill. So Kathy Hochul, sign the bill.
Sign the bill. Sign the bill. Sign the bill. Sign the bill.
Grab this pen. All right, so I have the pleasure of also welcoming Jackie Cohen. Thank you very much for joining us from Tri-State Transportation Campaign to lead us off with some more not chants.
I can do chants too. Hi everyone, I'm Jackie Cohen. I'm the Director of Climate and Equity Policy at Tri-State Transportation Campaign. I'm here today. I'm not just here as an advocate or as a New Yorker, but I am the mother of a young child. And I am so grateful to the advocacy from Families for Safe Streets, who are fighting to make our streets and our city and our state safer for all of our children, all of our families. This is the thing that keeps parents up at night, is the thought of losing your child. And I am just so grateful. I know Governor Hochul is not just the governor, she herself is also a mother and a grandmother. And so I'm here today to call on Governor Hochul and say, from one mother to another, please sign this bill, sign it today. We cannot wait another day, another year for this legislation to pass. Every time someone is taken on our streets, it is a massive policy failure. This is a matter of life or death. And so again, from one mother to another mother, Governor Hochul, please sign this bill today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sign this bill.
Sign this bill. Sign this bill. Sign this bill. Sign this bill. Sign this bill.
All right, so I would also like to welcome Eric. Come on down to the podium. Eric LaFleur, Streets Pack. Who does it go?
Thank you, Juan. Thanks everybody for being here. Let me just state a few quick facts for the record here. It's a fact that we know that fatalities and serious injuries on New York State streets have been rising for the past few years and show no signs, sadly, of abating. That's a fact. It's a fact that complete street designs help save lives, help reduce serious crashes and serious injuries. It's another fact. It's a fact that this bill passed in the Assembly by a vote of 145 to 0, and in the Senate by a vote of 63 to 0. Incredible bipartisan support for the Complete Streets bill. So that is another fact. We know that this will work. We know that it saves lives. It's critical from an infrastructure standpoint to do this for green jobs, for green streets, for the environment, and most of all for safety of New Yorkers. So let's get this done. I want to thank Transportation Alternatives and the amazing advocates of Families for Safe Streets and the other organizations for their work to get us to this point. We're confident, we're optimistic. We think the governor's going to sign this bill, so let's deliver this before the weekend. Governor Hochul, sign this bill. Thank you.
Sign this bill. Sign this bill! Sign this bill! Sign this bill! Sign this bill!
And to close us out, I think because our issues are so strong and also they're so overlapping, we're just honored to have so many elected leaders who are standing here. Assembly Member Farrah Force, thank you so much for being here. Welcome you to the stage.
I'm standing here in the cold, standing in solidarity in New York State streets because it is unacceptable that we are living in New York State, supposedly the progressive state, and we are rising in the ranks of traffic violence. I stand here next to victims, families that are left home without their loved ones because we just can't understand that when we keep our safe, when we design our streets to be safe, we are designing a community that supports all abilities to cross the street, to drive, to bike, whatever it is, to take public transportation and be able to say, I can go to work and come home with all four of my limbs, right? And so this is why I support this package of bills, but I also am imploring that Governor Hochul, out here to do that. But Governor Hochul, please call up these bills and sign it. Because when you sign on this package of bills, you're signing for safety for all. Thank you so much, Safe Street Coalition, for coming out, all the transportation alternatives, I see y'all. But really, we're calling on Governor Hochul, do your part. We did ours, do your part, sign these bills. Thank you.
Do your part! Do your part! Do your part! Do your part!
So I just want to thank all of you for being here. I know for many of you this has been decades in the works. Many of you, the unimaginable loss of losing somebody never goes away. And I just want to honor that these are moments when we come together in community because we don't want to be expanding the circle. Every time we have a meeting like this, there are more people that unfortunately we have to welcome up to share their story of a preventable loss. This needs to stop now. Governor Hochul, sign this bill now. Sign this bill now, sign this bill now, so we don't have to show up again tomorrow. Thank you all for being here, and aim to the next one.